Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Laurie 2000, who is going to be a mythic character coming to the game. She is going to be attached to an event, which we'll find out, no doubt, more information about when my video goes live. There should be some information dropping on the event she is attached to. And visually, you can see on the right hand side, it's very special. She is part of the Skybound X allegiance, as we know. So this is kind of like based on the comic stuff. And you can see one of her arms is actually just like a massive beam cannon, you can see. Very interesting. The animation is cool. The sound right now is just the sound of an AR. So if I do a click for the animation, you can see it. It does look really impressive. I like it, like a beam of light coming out. And we'll see how it is in fights in a moment. But visually, she reminds me of a couple of characters. If there's any particular characters she reminds you of, please let me know in the comments down below. On the left-hand side, we can see the art in a bit more detail. It's kind of like got alien artifacts. It looks like she's being kind of taken over, hard like cyborg, or I'm not sure if it's organic or not. I'm not sure who this character is on the left-hand side. Who could that be, guys? Who could that be? But yeah, visually quite interesting. As we move on to the stats, we can see as a level 640 limit broken character, she has 13,104 attack, 15,289 defense, and 15,289 HP. She is a tough character. She is a control character as well. Mythic character, of course, and like I said before, she is part of the Skybound X allegiance. So I believe she would be the third person as part of the allegiance. We've got Governor in the invasion event. We have had the promo, which is Negan, and now we have Laurie 2000 as well. Now, of course, Laurie will have an adrenaline rush, and it is called Lock and Load. It is a 66 AP cost rush. Deal 400% damage to one enemy, doubling that damage to 800% if that enemy is an alert character. That character gets impaired for 2 turns. Now, I don't know about you guys, this is kind of obvious to me. This is a pretty much a hard counter to Mythic Governor, where he will not be able to rush. Well, he will be able to cleanse this, but he will not be able to rush unless he hits that 30%. It's going to do 800% damage to Governor. Also, it's going to be trait damage as well. This is a hard nuke against alert characters on defense teams for sure. Even the 400% is going to be reasonable, but 800% is going to be massive. She is a controller. Her attack stat isn't super high, but this is going to sort of make up for it. This could potentially even be good on something like Conquest, where you're coming up against quite a lot of alert characters, where she could potentially just do huge amount. This is going to be over 1,000% damage, basically, because of the trait damage on top. Now, obviously, this can't crit or anything because it is just a flat hit, and it is going to just be based purely off of your attack stat, which you can ramp up nice and high. But yeah, it definitely looks like an issue for Mythic Governor, the Outlast character, at least on defense teams. Okay, so we have got the rush of Laurie here. You can see her in the bottom left-hand corner. And we're going to rush the top right-hand corner character who has the most HP. We should be able to take her out with the rush. We are indeed. Maybe a bad selection because of the retribution. But still, alert character is going to take a lot more damage because of the fact that they're alert characters. An 800% rush. It is single target. Now, if she was to survive, or if she was an Outlast character, they would currently have impair on them unless they resisted it. Now, this is why it's going to be great for a character like Outlast Governor, because he's going to be impaired in an Outlast state right now. So potentially could not rush. You know, it's kind of an extra scenario where you can stop Governor from rushing. Now, he can obviously cleanse that himself, but it's just another potential where he could not rush in that state. So not too bad a rush when it comes to single target damage. Do remember she is a control character, so I would see the damage mainly as a bonus rather than the main thing she's going to be bringing into the team. It's mainly that control, I think, for characters that can get into Outlast states and stuff, like Governor specifically. If we look at the upgrades, you can see at grade 2, she gets 100% damage bonus and 100% conditional damage bonus. So initially it would be 300, 700%. And then we would have a target gets impaired for 2 turns at grade 4. So initially there is no impair on it. But obviously, if you do even only get one of the characters, getting it to grade 4 is not too hard. Then the limit break would actually come in, and it would be an extra 50% damage and then 50% conditional. So that damage would be a little bit lower at grade 1 on or below. Grade 2 would obviously increase it up to 350% at that time, and then 750% conditional. Even that's pretty good. It's not terrible, but the extra 50% damage and 50% conditional is quite a nice little boost. Now remember, to limit break a character, you need the third character, and limit breaking the character isn't just going to give you that bonus, and that bonus will come in straight away no matter what level you get them to, but it will allow you to level them up to a higher level, and this does mean her stats will go higher, she'll get higher attack stat, and that will also amplify her damage, so it's kind of two forms of amplification potential that she can get via this. Now of course, Laurie does have a signature move, and it is called Empty Clip. It is initial cooldown of turn 2, cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses unlimited, deal a basic attack for 200% damage to one enemy. That character gets impair for 2 turns. So the first part is pretty decent for a control character. 200% is nice. The fact that her attack stat will be a little bit lower will be offset by the fact that this is quite a high damage dealing signature move. 200%, don't forget this can crit as well. That character getting impaired for 2 turns again is nice. It does mean that potentially you could do a signature move against Governor first, and then when someone is impaired they can't gain AP from taking damage. So you could do this against Governor on turn 2 and he's at like, I don't know, 80 AP, then you rush him to take him out, and while you would still impair him when you rush, you would potentially, you know, even if he cleanses it, he's still only at 80% AP because the impair from the turn before has blocked him from gaining AP. Or you could just use this signature move when you want, based on a character that can get their rush up. So the control characters are quite nice in that way. The fact that she's going to be able to do a basic attack crit for this is nice. You can potentially take advantage of that with some weapons if you so wish, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's the way to go because, you know, Rampage is pretty much the main one for this character, and I see her as more of a support character if she is a control character with lower damage, just more to get that control going and hopefully stay alive a bit just so that she can keep controlling the defense team and take out maybe those, you know, annoying alert characters on defense teams. Okay, so here we are on turn 2, and this is perfect. You can see that there is a character right now that is close to rushing, but I've got an idea that I could probably take this character out because they've got defense down without, you know, wasting Laurie's signature move. So I'm going to impair someone who I think is going to be more of a problem, and I'd say that's going to be Dr. Stevens. We're going to use the signature move here, and Dr. Stevens will be impaired for 2 turns. This does mean that any follow-up attacks, like this damage that comes in here, while damage would normally give AP, has given none. And that will work on Outlast characters as well. Will stop characters from gaining AP, and will stop people from rushing if they are max AP. Now checking out the signature moves upgrades, we can see that at grade 3 it gets a -1 to cooldown. So initially it's going to be a 4-turn cooldown, and at grade 5 it will get a 100% damage booster. So you will need 2 of these gold Laurie 2000s to be able to get the basic attack damage up to 200% from 100%. This will be quite important in terms of if you want to do more damage. The only downside of this is it is a 3-turn cooldown, so you won't have like that natural nice rotation where it's going to be like basic attack, signature move, rush, basic attack, signature move, rush. So that is a bit of a downside, but it is what it is. That the first cycle will be fine. After that, it will get a bit tricky when it comes to her AP gain, and she'll rely on maybe being attacked or other AP manipulators within your team, be it like a Wayland who gives AP, or a Glenn, or stuff like that. You know, characters maybe that when they're taken out do give AP, but if you're trying to win quick and you have got a nice quick team, you should be winning in the first, you know, 3 to 5 turns anyway, so she's most likely only going to rush once anyway, so it's not going to be too crazy, not too much of a problem. So no big deal on the front when it comes to like continuous rushing at least. So far she is a pretty decent control character. Now she has got some passive skills to tell us where she's going to be best used. She has got quite defensive stats, so she could potentially be used on a defense team as well as an attack team as an offensive controller. You can see that she has got precision because she is a control character. That means resistances are less likely to proc, so if people do use impair resist, it's less likely to happen. Not many people do use impair resist right now, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. She has alien armor as the second passive. This is actually kind of nice. She's got a 40% inbuilt disarm resistance, and if you are using her on an attack team, you probably wouldn't do that. So that is actually pretty decent. It really would depend on what your third slot was though. For instance, if it was a double attack, it would actually stop that from being disarmed. But if you were wanting to go with something like 20% AP to self and 20% attack to self, there's no way that can be disarmed because it happens at the beginning of the fight, and after that it's actually completely useless. So it really depends on what's in that third slot for you if you're going to actually have something happen. I will say that her base weapon has a third slot which can be disarmed, and we'll look at in a second. You can see the next one is called Futuristic Battle Tactics. When killing an enemy, all teammates get 40% main resistance for 1 turn. Now, you might have seen that in a clip before where the main resistance came up. Now, it is actually pretty decent. That's a guaranteed chance of getting 40% main resistance. I like that a lot. I prefer that to 40% chance to get 100%, if that makes sense. Like, it just seems nicer, just based on this. It's like, that's where layered RNG like is positive in my opinion. So if she takes down a governor and he resists or cleanses the impair and he still rushes, there's a 40% chance the people he rushes will resist his main. So that's actually pretty good. Lastly, he has got energy weapons. Laurie's 2000, should I say. When attacking an enemy with an impair status, she gets 30% attack bonus, and all of her kits got impair in it. Her rush, her signature move, and if you recognize specialist skills, well, you'll know what else is coming. But she's going to have impair on the defense team quite a lot, so she will get an attack bonus via that. And even though she has got lower attack because she's more defensively based, and the fact that she obviously is a controller, she's still going to be doing reasonable amount of attack by the looks of things. Okay, so I've switched up the team a little bit just to show you how this works. First, I'm just going to impair everybody with Jesus, and this is just going to show you the fact that she can get a boost to her damage. You'll see should see some green text come up above her name, and also I've put in a very weak character on the defense team. This is just for a guaranteed takedown, and this is also to show you the main resistance going on to my characters on my team. So we'll do the basic attack. You can see it said, I think, 30% bonus attack. Then it also said 40% resistance. You can see all the resistance on my team, and it does only last for that 1 turn. And we'll see what happens. If I do defend, does it run out straight away on my turn? Or does it last onto the defending team's turn? Now, it lasts onto the defending team's turn, and then when it comes back to my turn, it runs out. Kind of as you would expect. Now, we'll see if she gets the bonus on her signature move. I'm guessing she's going to. So, again, watch the text above her name. It should say 30% attack, so she's going to get a 30% attack boost here. I'm going to defend here, just so my characters don't get absolutely destroyed. And we've got a very high likeliness that Laurie's going to get destroyed here. Hopefully not, fingers crossed. They are going to attack other people. This is good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh, she's getting focused. Now, I'm going to rush here. Does it affect the rush? I don't think it will. But we'll see. We'll see. Rush comes in. And it doesn't. So it only affects basic attacks and her signature move, which is kind of what I would have expected when it comes to her passive giving an attack boost. That's kind of how the majority, if not everything, works in the game. Now look at those passive skill upgrades, and as you can see, Alien Armor is the grade 1. That's the first half to get 20% disarm resistance. Precision 1 is at grade 2. That's to get the first half again, to get 20% lower against the resistances on this character. And then grade 3, you get Futuristic Battle Tactics. It's the full deal here. 40% main resistance at grade 3. At grade 4, you're getting Energy Weapons, and this is the 30% attack boost for your basic attacks and your signature moves. At grade 5, you'll get the second half of Alien Armor. That's the second half of the disarm resistance. And then at Limit Break, you'll get Precision 2, which is the second half of the boost because she is a control character. So not too bad on the upgrades. I would say, you know, grade 3 and grade 4 are probably the most important ones in terms of how you're going to build this character. More damage and kind of more like team effectiveness with the 40% main resistance. It is nice how that lasts. I wasn't 100% sure because one turn sometimes can mean it wears off on your turn, but it wears off after the enemy turn and it comes back to your turn because you saw the basic attacks coming in and it was still on me. My character still had the main resist. So then if a governor was in Outlast state and did rush, my resistances would potentially block that, like I said before. Now, you've already seen it, and it does play into the rest of her kit. She has got a specialist skill, and it is Neutralize. When this character attacks a human enemy that has 80% or more adrenaline, that enemy will be impaired for 1 turn. Impaired characters cannot gain or use adrenaline rushes. Now, I've got mixed feeling on Neutralize on this character, but I kind of like Neutralize for attack teams. It is nice. It is actually kind of frustrating to come up against Neutralize characters on defense teams as well, because your rush can just be blocked on turn 2 on a character where you're getting a lot of AP. If you're using characters like Glenn to just get nice big boosts to your AP, And obviously no command character in the game just yet, so there's no way to get that character to rush early, and a neutralized character will focus someone who can be neutralized. It's always the case on the AI for defense teams, and on attack teams you can do it, obviously you've got it in your hands, you can do it how you wish. She doesn't have to have anything special, she doesn't have to wait for her rush, you know, it isn't like she has to wait for a rush to come out to impair, or a signature move to come around. She can just use this with a basic attack, and someone will be impaired, as simple as that. Okay, so we're on turn 2, and in this situation I could normally do my signature move, but because someone's got their rush up and ready, I can decide to do the basic attack instead to impair them if I want. And this way, when I do rush on my next turn, the turn afterwards, I'd have my signature move ready where I'd normally have to wait for it to reset. I could see it like being more efficient that way, but obviously in this scenario, I'm going to take the character out no matter what. So I potentially could have used my signature move on somebody else and taken out this character instead. It gives you a little bit of choice, but you do have to have the characters over 80% of their AR for me to be able to actually do it. So if I defend action on Glenn, you'll see the neutralize icon on Laurie light up to tell me that people have just gone over 80% of their AR, and I can use it on certain characters. It doesn't tell you which characters I can use it on, but in this scenario, it's pretty obvious that it's all of them. So neutralize is pretty decent on attack and defense. I think it is pretty decent either way. But it just makes Laurie very, very one-dimensional when it comes to her control. But I think a lot of the controllers are like that. You know, Razzo's all about stun, and you've got other characters that are all about, you know, a particular type of control. So it does seem like the way they're basically doing it with the controls. I will say this, that impair is going to be kind of boosted because there's not much impair resist around, and it's mainly because there's not many characters that actually have impair. So people are just not putting up resist for it. I think that a lot of people will start putting impair resist on their govs because, yeah, this seems to be a bit more of like an accessible character to counter the gov meta that is going around with, because, you know, Mythic Gov, the alert character, is absolutely everywhere. Now, Laurie 2000 does have an attached weapon, of course. She's got an entire arm, as you see. Laurie 2000 Savage Alien Arm Gun. And it is pretty decent. As you can see, it is still a 4-star weapon. I did not need to 5-star this weapon for this test. Normally, I need to do that to get the AP, you know, increased. But it was absolutely fine here. We can see it's got 25% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, and in the third slot it actually has a reasonably decent upgrade, stronger attacks plus burn when attacking, a better chance to attack with the stronger trait against the enemy, plus deal 9% of the character's attack stat in burn damage for 2 turns. And that's the 9% of Laurie 2000's attack stat. Now, what you could do here is just upgrade this 3 times with 5% attack stats and get that to 40% attack. Then you make it a 5-star weapon, put 1535 in the bottom slot, and just make it 50% attack. You're going to actually have a reasonably decent baseline weapon, especially if you're newer to the game and don't have huge amounts of stuff unlocked. Or if you just want to have a decent baseline weapon, you can of course just 5-star it straight away if you've got a weapon waiting in the wings. And I know a lot of people maybe do have tough character weapons waiting, but she maybe does require a different weapon. I'm not sure. I would say 1535 is definitely the way to go, just because she is more of a support character for those attack teams. So she will require a little bit more when it comes to support role stuff, like 1535 for instance. Buffing someone like Andrea who sat next to her will do a lot more damage that way, and I think that's going to be much more effective for your attack team's success rates. But Laurie by herself, I think, seems to be doing pretty decent damage. She's got a lot of stuff that's going to add to that, and if you have a nice heavy damage dealing weapon, all the better. So that is Mythic Laurie 2000, and I think visually she is pretty cool looking on the right hand side. I am very, very happy that she's not on a hoverboard. We did have that with Governor, and we did have that with Negan, the 2000 versions from the Skybound X. I was wondering if all the characters would have that. Maybe only the bad guys have that. We'll have to wait and see. Are they the baddies? Maybe they're the baddies. But as you can see on the right hand side, I do like the stance. It's the stance that reminds me of something. I'm not sure what it reminds me of. It might be like Vayne or something like that from League of Legends, where she's holding a crossbow in the same sort of stance. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah. Any thoughts on Laurie as a character? Please leave them in the comments down below. What do you think of her visuals? What do you think of her kit? Is she a character that you think is going to be useful? Do you think she's going to counter Governor how I think she's going to counter Governor? Let me know, like I said, in the comments down below. That is going to be the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.